chasing the rabbit so you don't have to. Here they are, Mark and Don, the two crazy guys.
All righty, welcome. It is another great day. You are tuned in to the Two Crazy Guys, broadcasting right here on KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority, and of course on Contra Radio Network at ContraRadioNetwork.com. And hey, man, my name is Donald Lowry, a.k.a. Big D, and on the other side we have my cohort in crime, the other crazy guy's name is Mark Boyle, a.k.a. Prepper Guy. How you doing this week, buddy?
I'm doing really, really well. I mean, you know, all things considered. You know,
all things considered.
When you look at the Democrat Party and you go, boy, they just all hate us. I guess knowing that makes me feel a little better.
Well, you know, last week was Independence Day, and of course, our great patriot president, being the great American that he is, held a celebration of celebrations there in Washington, D.C., and that just put the liberals fit to be tied. And, you know, they were all talking about how they wanted it to get rained. It did rain, but for the most part, it went off without a hitch, and it was an incredible fireworks display. And it just went off really good. Thank you, President Trump, for being the great American patriot that you are, sir.
Yes, and actually respecting the fact that we have an Independence Day and honoring it and saluting it and
Yes.
and parading out some tanks and stuff for us to all look at.
Yes, buddy.
Because that's what it's all about. I mean,
Yeah, man.
we didn't get our independence by, you know, throwing bad words at people.
Right.
You know, so it's such a tradition, you know, over the years, well, before we all became snowflake crybabies, you know, to have these military parades during the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Now the liberals hate it.
So, you know, I saw something on one of the headlines in one of the news stories out there last week was that Trump gives up on citizenship question on the census. And as you know, he has been battling with the Dems trying to get the census, the question on the census about if you're an American citizen or not, and they've been fighting him tooth and nail. And if you look at the headline, it's misleading because you think that, oh, well, Donald Trump's given up. But what Donald Trump did, actually, Mark, was he created an executive order, and it's going on there anyway.
Well, it's just so dang funny because all the Dems and the liberals are sitting there going, well, it's a racist question. It's like, it has to do with citizenship, not skin color.
Well, you know, there's going to be tons of people lying about it. You know that. You know that's going to happen. But it's the principle of the thing. And you know, Donald Trump was right when he said, we live in America. Why can't we ask them if they're citizens?
Right, because it dictates how many representatives we should have.
Right.
Which we don't follow that, you know, what's Article 1, Section 2, I think.
Yeah.
That, you know, it should be one representative for close to 30,000 people.
Right.
Well, but so we don't follow that anyway. But it's still, who's eligible to vote and are you a U.S. citizen is not racist.
No.
And we do have a right to know just for statistical reasons.
Exactly.
It's not picking on somebody's race. It's just, it amazes me that they can take any molehill out there and turn it into a mountain.
Yeah,
if Trump's name's on it. You know,
and then Attorney General William Barr, real quickly, didn't take him long, came out and said that Trump was acting within legal authority to do so. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it there, because there's nothing you can do to stop it now.
And well, you know, what else is new? I mean, you know, Trump going to the restroom in the White House is a constitutional crisis.
Oh, I know.
It's just, it's become the boy who cries wolf so much that I don't listen to most of it, the chatter. I guess it's chatter. I was talking to a guy on Facebook about this representation thing, when I brought up Omar, wanting to boycott Tucker Carlson. I said, well, technically we should have over 4,000 representatives, which would force us to have our representation at the state level. And then they could appoint a senator and send them to Washington. But they like them all, in one box. They're in Washington, D.C., and then they move to Washington, D.C. They don't even know where their district is half the time.
That's right. That's right.
So I think having 4,000 representatives would be like New Hampshire. They got some of the best economy, no taxes, and they have way more representation per district than we do.
Yes.
So, and the guy's arguing with me about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to get resolved on Facebook anyway.
Of course not. Oh, speak of the irony of Facebook.
The irony of it.
The irony of Facebook. So my podcast is hosted on podbean.com. And when I post it, I have it linked to all my social media accounts, and it posts, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, all those social, it goes to, all the different networks out there. And it's funny because they blocked, or they either blocked or deleted my feed, my last feed. And so I went in and put it on there manually. And so it's there. But
did you have some, hate speech in there, like Happy Independence Day or We Love America?
Well, here's the irony is I get an email today from Facebook telling me that my fans on Facebook haven't heard from me for a while. Make a post so they know what I'm doing. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, isn't that ironic? Because just Saturday, I made a post, they blocked it, and now they're telling me I'm not posting enough.
Right. I always wonder, because I'll post, it's automatic, with buffer.
Right.
Every video I put on Pepper Guy.
Uh-huh.
And then, so there's probably 20, 30 a day going out, and I'll get that same little thing, a notification. You haven't posted in a while. It's like, oh yeah, it's the last 10 minutes. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then it always says, I like that. It's like, what's on your mind? That little thing when you click on to make a post. It's like, what's on my mind? You don't want to hear about what's on my mind, because you will definitely delete that.
Do you really want me to post what's on my mind?
It's such a smoke and mirrors kind of thing, with Facebook. And it really is what the left hand don't know what the right hand's doing, just like our federal government. It's so big and so automated now that it just no longer functions properly, which is
and it's only going to grow if we don't take it by the hold.
Yeah. Well, what did John Jeffers say? It's like a toilet, Facebook. And I had told him, I go, Twitter is like the bathroom wall at a gas station bathroom.
Hey, speaking of John Jeffers,
yes,
you guys that are listening to this, you need to go over there and give that great American patriot a couple of bucks, man.
Yeah.
Just all you got to do is go to contraradionetwork.podbean.com and click on the donate button. Couple bucks a month, man.
Yeah.
That patriot a few bucks.
Well, and he better move pretty quick, because I hear they're raising the price of gas in Illinois. And so it's like, he better pack up that RV and get the hell out of there while he still can afford to.
So, Mueller's coming. Mueller is riding the white horse, and now all of a sudden now this is according to the libs. He's got the smoking gun that's going to hammer Trump. But wait a minute. Hasn't the Mueller report already been out?
Yeah. So wouldn't that mean that if he said anything in Congress, under oath, that was different from his own report, wouldn't that be perjury?
Well, yeah, it would.
I guess if you love the Democrats, nothing is perjury.
But, so he said in the report, and I have the audio. I also have a copy of the report that I printed.
Yeah.
And in the report, it says that we have no conclusive evidence that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians.
Right. So
he also said, now that should have been the end of it, because remember, it was Nancy Pelosi that said that we have to accept the results of the Mueller report no matter what they are.
Yeah. Well, she said that before she knew the results. She had to see the report before she knew what was in the report.
Right, exactly. And so then oh, well, that wasn't good enough. So now we have to go out. Oh, he obstructed justice. Well, then, that's the second part of the Mueller report. And in the second part of the Mueller report, he says, quote, if we had evidence that Donald Trump was guilty or was innocent, we would have said so.
Right.
Well, guys, you weren't trying to prove he was innocent. You were trying to prove he was guilty.
Yeah. And
it's a play on words, my friend.
And what gets me with, like this, all these, I guess activist groups, that are all mad because law enforcement always assumes that you're guilty until proven innocent. and then they turn around and do the same thing to the president blithely, just like la 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 la. So it's bad for a detective to sit there and assume you're guilty, and if he can't prove you're innocent, then you're going to jail. Right. That's wrong, which it is.
Right.
But it's totally okay for all these hearings and this investigation to accuse Trump of something he did not do, and they can't prove he didn't do it. They can't prove he did it either, or they would have nailed him.
So guess what? If you can't prove that he's innocent, you also can't prove that he's guilty.
Well, and then I heard talks that maybe Barr and Mueller would put out a joint statement. So they're giving him a back door to pedal out of, instead of letting him face the firing squad and go before Congress and have these Republicans ask questions.
Because that's what's going to happen.
Right. So now they're trying, even on the news, I'm hearing that the Republicans say that, well, maybe there'll be a joint report or statement to let Mueller off the hook. It's like, I don't want him off the hook.
Me either. I want him to testify.
Yeah, let's get this out there now.
Yeah, I want him to testify because I know there's Republicans that are going to be hammering him on questions. And see, they this is how stupid the Democrats are. They don't see this.
No,
they all they see is that they're bringing Mueller, and he's got a smoking gun that's gonna all of a sudden now incriminate Trump. But what they don't. All right, so the whole impeachment thing. Notice how that's quieted down.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because they realized that number one, they don't have a crime, and number two, they don't have enough votes in the House, because in the House, in order for impeachment proceedings to begin, you need a simple majority, 2/3, a simple majority of those present and voting. Now, don't think for a minute that Nancy Pelosi, as the Speaker of the House, wouldn't require all members of the House to be there.
Right.
So that means they need what? Some like 200 and some votes or something like that. I mean, think about it. They got what? Last I saw was they had 50 or 75 or something like that. They don't have enough votes.
They may have the majority in the House, but they don't have the simple majority.
Right. That's exactly right. Listen, we're going to have to take a break. We're going to have to go simply listen to our sponsors. We will be back with more right after this, so do not go away.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
This is Contra Radio Network, internet radio for the discerning prepper and patriot.
Hi, this is John Jeffers, inviting you to listen to my show, The Jeffers Brief. You know, on the Jeffers Brief, we discuss topics of interest and concerns for preppers and patriots. You can only find us on the Contra Radio Network on podbean.com or KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority. Hope you join me, and we'll talk to you then.
Talking the issues and taking the hit. Here they are, the two crazy guys.
Alrighty, and we are back for the second segment. Man, that first segment just flew by. I'm sitting here talking with Mark. I look up and the producer's, giving me the roundup. Let's quiet this down. I'm thinking to myself, man, dude, chill, man. He's like, no, we got to go to break. So we went to break. Here we are back.
Proof positive that time flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
And that's about all you can do with this political environment we live in.
Yes.
Is have fun, because otherwise I think we're all going to pull our hair out. I don't have enough left.
I don't either. I'm pretty close to being non-existent to there. I figured I'd let it grow real long in the back and then be like Donald Trump and fling it over the front.
Oh, get that. Or you could just put it in a man bun.
No, that ain't happening, brother.
Not gonna happen. Ever.
I don't do man buns, and I don't do manis or petties. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Yeah, we are two of the least metro males you will ever see, because most of the time I'm wearing grubby clothes. And
yeah, me too.
The girl, I got my haircut the other day, and the gal was like, well, how do you comb it? And I go, I don't. And I was just like, I put some water in it and try to get it all sticking out in the same direction. And then I go to work. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Why would I comb my hair? There's not enough to even
There's
sweat
not enough
over.
there, yeah. Hey, listen, before the break, we were talking about the Mueller, about Mueller himself. He's getting ready next week on the 17th. Stay tuned to the TV, because I think it's going to be a big news day. He is going to testify. And what the Democrats seem to fail to realize is that there are some Republicans that are going to grill him. And man, I wish, what's his name? Trey Gowdy. I wish Trey was still around, man. Trey would hammer that dude.
Yeah. Yeah. We got the Republicans out there that can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard a really good segment on my buddy Tucker Carlson's show. And the guy had wrote a book, Hillbilly Elegy or something like that. And he was talking about the demographics of, America. And he said, Trump has tapped into his niche. He understands his niche, which is middle America, rural America, people that care about patriotism and freedom and liberty. But he said, unfortunately, the Republican Party doesn't accept that niche. They're happy that, that we're all conservative and Republican, but they hate the flyover states and they don't like us. So they have their wish of a good base. They just don't like us. And that's where all these never Trumpers come from. It was really really a good point. I'm putting it in parts of it. I hacked up to put in my podcast coming out. And, I think I'm going to put a link in there, prepperguy.podbeam.com. I don't even know how you say that, but I'm going to have a link to Tucker's show on this 4th of July show, because it was really well done. And he brings up a lot of really good points about why neither party really care about America. And they actually don't. When you analyze them, how many of our House of Representatives hate America?
Right.
Isn't that just the scariest thing you've ever heard?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can't tar and feather them anymore.
We're electing the very individuals that bombed us on night, or that flew planes into the World Trade Center in 9/11. So,
right. Hey, are you watching that new series? It's just a mini series, 6 parts, I think. The Loudest Voice. And it's about Roger Ailes and starting Fox News with Rupert Murdoch and all that. And so far, it's pretty dang good. I haven't figured out the guy who wrote the book, if he's got an agenda, to make, Fox News look bad. But the first 2 episodes have been really good. Russell Crowe plays Roger Ailes.
Mm.
and he's got the big suit on, so he's.
I don't watch much TV. I do watch, news from time to time. I actually do watch quite a bit of news. I digress. But I don't
Not
watch
on TV.
Yeah, I just don't watch a lot of TV shows. I'm look, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't force myself to watch the very people who want to burn this country and trash this country, those in Hollywood. And I don't go to the movies because that contributes to their salary. Right. I don't watch the crap that they put out because I disagree with. Now, there are a few, times when something looks good and I'll go and watch it, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
Because Mark, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for this, but I just won't watch because I won't give support to the very people who want to trash this country.
Right. You almost feel like you're helping them spread their vile.
Exactly.
By watching, what do they call it, complacent or something like that, or implicit.
Turn the cheek, what was that guy, Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Mr. Limousine Learjet DiCaprio.
Right.
And he's, out there talking all this nonsense, and he's flying around the country, in his private Learjets and, with his limousines and all this other crap. And then he's sitting there telling us, well, you can't do that because you're polluting the environment. Right. Really, dude?
You don't understand those, see, Don. I'm sorry, but they are so important that they have to get from point A to point B a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Because their message is so important. And unfortunately, we're just not bright enough to understand that.
Yeah. That's why I got a big, loud diesel truck.
Well, you know what? I got into an argument one time with one of those water-wise yahoos in Sierra Vista there.
Oh, Lord.
And he's trying to tell me how we're running out of water and our water tables are going lower and lower and lower. And I was like, well, I don't understand because the river still runs at 1,800 feet deep, the same as it did 100 years ago.
Yeah.
I go, if the tables are going down, then doesn't that mean it goes down, and lower? I said, why don't you just tell me that it costs more, because of technology, and then I'll pay for it. But if you're talking about, we have less water on planet Earth than Adam and Eve had, you're just full of it.
It's not like the water's just flinging off out into outer space or something.
Yeah, because we're spinning and it's just going out there like a centrifuge. No. Yeah. And so I turn around and plant another acre of grass just because screw you. It's like, this is my money. I'll pay for the water I want to use, and it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. So I'm with you, buy a bigger truck. My wife bought a Jeep Rubicon, so it gets worse mileage than our other car used to get.
Well, let me just say this for now. I know this is this really doesn't apply to the folks up in Utah, but for us, the only people who claim that there's a water shortage here are those that want to control it so they can monopolize on it and make money with it.
Well, you know how many wars have been fought over just water? You know, when you really study history, that's always been a big thing.
By the way,
water and resources.
By the way, isn't the Earth 3/4 of the Earth covered in water?
Yeah, but it's flat, so it might run off the side.
No. Listen, let me tell you something. If the Earth was flat, the cats would have pushed everything off a long time ago.
Right. True that. Well, was it Elijah Cummings that said, you get too many people on that island, it'll tip over?
Oh yeah, Guam. He was talking about Guam.
Yeah, he did retract that.
My concern is that if we put too many people on the island, it'll tip over.
Right. He did say later on that he was just kidding, but when he asked that question to a naval officer in a congressional hearing,
I don't think he was kidding. I think he got so much flack over it, he had to say he was kidding.
Yeah. So you have to wonder, do these people really maybe think that Earth is flat and the water will just pour off the side? I'm with your theory. Cats would have pushed it off,
Well, here, like I said, three. Okay. All right, let's go with the flat Earth. It's still 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered by water.
Right. Yeah.
But I digress, because the Earth isn't flat, it's round.
Right. And we have as much water as Adam and Eve had when they started drinking it.
From a meteorologist's standpoint, the Earth is round, because I do have. So I don't know if you know this even, but I am actually certified with the National Weather Service as a storm spotter. I have been doing meteorology for 23 years. I understand weather. I understand the phenomenon of weather. And let me tell you something. The one reason for weather as we know it here on this planet is due to uneven heating of the Earth's surface. Period.
Because it's round.
That's right.
But can you prove it's not round? Because we might have to get you before Congress and have Mueller investigate, because you cannot prove that it is not round. See, we all know it's round, but
Right.
can you prove it's not round?
Well,
You can't prove a negative.
just look at some of the pictures. Oh, I know, they were captured with fisheye cameras. I know.
Oh, that's right. And we never
They were
landed on
cropped.
the moon.
They were cropped.
Yeah.
The space shuttle never blew up. It never went out of the orbit.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't know
Columbia.
that one. See, that's nice to know that Sally Ride's still alive.
Yeah.
All that crying was for nothing.
Yeah.
It's like,
So yeah, it just blows me away.
this was our segment on insanity.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, Mueller's coming.
based on that, though, we could run for representatives because we are
Well-
as crazy as those people.
I did run one time and I lost by 100 votes.
See? Well, that's because I didn't live here then. I would have voted.
You would
for
have
all my
voted early and you would have
relatives.
voted often, wouldn't you have?
all my dead relatives would have loved you. I know it because you're a hillbilly like me. So
I saw a meme the other day. It says, all of her life, Grandma voted Republican until the day she died, and she's voted Democrat ever since.
yeah, ain't that the sad truth?
Hey,
Yeah.
listen, folks, we got to cut to a break. The producer in the other side of the window is telling me we need to go to break. So let's cut to break. We will be back right after this. Don't go away.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
Black Metal Firearms are a couple guys I know personally and friends of mine that put together some great accessories for all your firearms needs. Everything that I've seen them do is just top-notch and very nice looking. blackmetalfirearms.com. Check them out. I think you'll be glad you did. Go to Facebook, Black Metal Firearms. They got a great page there too. Learn more about the workmanship and the craftsmanship they put into every accessory and every build they do.
Hi, this is John Jeffers, inviting you to listen to my show, The Jeffers Brief. You know, on The Jeffers Brief, we discuss topics of interest and concerns for preppers and patriots. You can only find us on the Contra Radio Network on podbean.com or KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority. Hope you join me, and we'll talk to you then.
Talking the issues and taking the hit. Here they are, the two crazy guys.
Wow, 2 sections in the can and 2 to go. We are on the way to the third one right now. They're wrapping down pretty quickly today. So yeah, lots going on. If you're not angry, it's because you're not paying attention. And, it just blows me away. Oh, by the way, the whole, Kaepernick thing?
Kaepernick, yeah.
I kept saying Kirkpatrick. It's Kaepernick.
Oh,
I'm
God
going to
forbid
say
you
it.
get his name wrong.
I'm going to say it because I'm just going to. There's a comedian out there. I know you people have heard Donnie, what's his name? Donnie Baker. And he calls him Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. Well, at least you didn't do that, so they could censor him. So it's Capper Richard.
So yeah, if you guys don't know who Donnie Baker is, just look him up on YouTube, look him up on Facebook. Funny comedian, really, really funny guy. And he it's all part of the show. It's his alt personality, and he's actually, it's like a redneck guy. So go check that out.
Yeah. I love comedians when they're funny. Well, I probably drug the last segment off the map and flat Earth and all that, but it's we were talking about watching the news and stuff, and it's part of it is you got to kind of try to read the writing on the wall and see just what the hell's going on, because I'm a prepper, and a lot of people I make my podcast for are preppers, but I always say, well, you're not preparing for the trigger event, which could be nuclear or an EMP or biochemical or economy.
Right.
You have to prepare for the outcome, once we hit that tipping point, and that to me is staying alive with the people I care about the most.
Mm-hmm.
What causes it is irrelevant, but you still need to be watching, and seeing what's going on. And so I did a podcast just this afternoon when I was screwing off, and because the sun was shining and it was hot as heck. And so it's like, when you really look at it, politics in America and the Constitution and the way it's been shredded, you might as well laugh, because there's nothing we can do about it. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's past the point of no return. You cannot unscramble this egg. I think, we can't go back and we can't go forward. It's in collapse and decline. Mm-hmm. And it's sad, but I'm not going to, eat a bullet over it. I'm just going to continue going on laughing and going,
right.
But I'm ready, in all my levels that I'm concerned about. So I guess I can laugh about it. New people that are worried about politics might not look at it as humorously as I do and you do, but
right.
What can you do about it? Not a darn thing.
Right.
See, I put that clean word in there.
Hey. So yeah, you're right.
Getting better.
I do believe, I think you're right, Mark. And we've talked about this. I honestly think, because I was over, let's see, trying to remember what day, someday last week. Oh, no. It was last weekend when there were protests nationwide going on, protesting Donald Trump's salute to America. And there was a live stream on Facebook of this event in in DC where Antifa was there and all this other stuff. And it started out peaceful and it got a little hotter and it got a little hotter. And then, and then the Facebook stream ended, but it ended up getting pretty rowdy. And I do believe, and I hate to say this, but I do believe this country is definitely headed for a civil war.
Yeah.
And I also do believe that, what Donald Trump is doing is very, very honorable, what he's doing.
Right.
But I'm just afraid that all it's doing is it's just delaying the inevitable, that the Democrats have gone so far to the left. I mean, they used to be, they tried to hide their socialism. They don't even try to hide it anymore.
Right. They go any further left and they're going to be on the right side.
And either America is going to have to wake up and realize what's going on and stop electing these winged out wackos.
Right.
And start. But the problem is the places that these winged out wackos represent are just as whacked out as the representatives that are running for office.
Right. And my point on my podcast, even though I got a little, dour and sour about the whole thing, is like, if the government collapsed, maybe we could save our states because they're independent and they're sovereign.
Right.
Now those states that have all these, wingbats out there, there's no saving them. And that's their problem.
Right.
But, if the federal government were to totally collapse for some unforeseen reason, that we would still have our states that could maintain, sovereignty and keep us from just becoming dust in the wind. But when you look at most of the representatives, even in a fairly conservative state, there's always those loons out there.
Yeah.
That are still going to try to drag it down with the sinking ship.
Yeah.
And so I don't see a positive outcome for what's coming, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There is a big it coming.
Oh, I absolutely. Because look, now I've dissected on my program, I've dissected the Green New Deal, and we've spoken of it a few times here on this program as well. And we know that it's not sustainable, but they feel that it is sustainable. And look, I know you know my North Korea theory,
right?
That, we'll never get to be like North Korea, but, all it takes is for them to get the majority of the votes and get their electorate into office. And, you start letting your government take your rights away and watch how fast we get to North Korea.
Right. And, it might not be North Korea, but even North Korea light is worse than anything we could imagine in America.
Now, like I said, the whole Green New Deal, we know it's not sustainable. And I know I've talked to a lot of people. Oh, no, that'll never happen. They'll never get that in. But look, all they need, they already have the majority in the House. All they need in the election is to pick up the majority in the Senate and to pick up the presidency. Now, I'm not, you know as well as I know, just common sense tells you that no matter who they run against Donald Trump, that person loses. Okay. The numbers of people that show up to the events should tell you that. But that's why they're trying to do this whole impeachment thing. And that's why they're trying to do all of this distraction stuff. They're trying to get it all done before the election because they know they don't stand a snowball's chance in hell of winning.
But what happens if?
What happens after?
We have 5.5 years for them to get momentum.
Donald Trump?
Right. Because eventually he'll be gone. And then even if he wins this election, there's the next one.
Right.
And all they got to do is keep that momentum going.
All they got to do is they're not going to win this election, but all they have to do is win the following election. That's all they have to do. And we're done, guys.
Yeah. It sounds, like end of the world, and it really could be. I think that the left knows that the Green New Deal is unsustainable.
Sure they do.
And that's why they're pushing it. Just like they said, Bernie Sanders sitting there going, well, I think there should be free college for everyone. But if you can't get a job, we'll pay you a sustainable wage. Well, then why would I go to school?
Well,
So they know none of this works.
well, the senator from Vermont, they tried to implement that what is it, that healthcare plan, the Medicare for all, in Vermont, and it was a miserable failure. And now he seems to think that he can make it work for the whole country. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that was the beauty of this country, was we had 50 states, like little
Right.
50 mini laboratories.
Right.
And if a state wants to try universal health care, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then if it works, maybe other states will go, hey, that kind of worked for them and their size and their population and their income. We can try it here.
Right.
But the feds always want it to be one size fits all.
Exactly. Right.
And therefore, there is no 50 laboratories anymore. There's one big mess.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Because
Well,
I wouldn't care if Vermont or some other country.
We need to be very careful, because I'm telling you that now, I mean, so you say, well, that'll never happen. But, well, I seem to remember several presidents that have been, like Donald Trump early in the term. He had the House, he had the Senate, and you had a Republican president. If they wanted to get busy and get shit done, excuse the French, they could have gotten busy and got shit done, excuse the English.
Right.
But, that's all it takes, is for them to win the House and the Senate and a Democratic president. And let me tell you something.
Done.
They will go to town with it. I am not, make no mistake about it, people. Make no mistake about what I'm telling you right now. They want it so bad that if they ever get their hands on both the House and the Senate and the presidency, I assure you they're going to push it, and there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to stop it.
No, because it will give them a pseudo mandate. Even if they don't win by popular vote, but they squeak by an electoral election and they win.
Right.
That to them is a mandate, because for the last 6 years they've been saying socialism, socialism, socialism.
Exactly.
So all they got to do is turn around and throw that in our face and go, look, the people have spoken. This has been our message for 6-7 years now.
And see, Mark, that goes right back to what I say. It all starts in the schooling, in the education system. Because look at what our school systems are turning out. They're turning out these wingbats that are now running the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all starts in our education system, and our education system is gone in the dirt, man. And we need to look, you folks need to get out there. You need to get involved. You need to start electing school board, your school board representation that is going to adhere to the Constitution, that's going to bring the proper teaching back into the classes, start talking about the Constitution, start talking about the Republic, and start teaching our kids reading, writing, and arithmetic versus the crap they're feeding them now. And Mark, we got to go to another break.
Oh, well, we'll straighten this out just in a minute then.
We'll be back. Don't go away.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is John Jeffers, inviting you to listen to my show, The Jeffers Brief. You know, on The Jeffers Brief, we discuss topics of interest and concerns for preppers and patriots. You can only find us on the Contra Radio Network on podbean.com or KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority. Hope you join me, and we'll talk to you then.
This is Contra Radio Network, internet radio for the discerning prepper and patriot.
Black Metal Firearms are a couple guys I know personally and friends of mine that put together some great accessories for all your firearms needs. Everything that I've seen them do is just top-notch and very nice looking. BlackMetalFirearms.com. Check them out. I think you'll be glad you did. Go to Facebook, Black Metal Firearms. They got a great page there too. Learn more about the workmanship and the craftsmanship they put into every accessory and every build they do.
Alrighty, welcome back to the final segment of today's program, and I do digress. I have stepped down off of the soapbox that I was standing so proudly on before we went to break.
Well, you know what, Don, you're right. And I think, though, that the people's involvement needs to be more. We need to do away with the federal education system.
Absolutely.
It needs to be brought back locally, just like every other issue that's crippling our country and our the fabric of our society.
Right.
Get rid of the Department of Education, the Board of Education, just
all of that garbage.
Elect governors and stuff that will just tell the feds, we're not going to do this anymore.
Right.
And if they cut out,
guys, all politics is local, man.
Yeah. And if they cut off your federal welfare, so what? I think it was Ev Meekum that was our governor at one time, that when I think he said, well, we're not going to do this 55-mile-an-hour speed limit because it's just too open of an area.
Yeah.
And the Fed said, well, we'll stop your highway funding. And Ev Meekum told him, well, then we'll just stop sending you the money.
Right.
Because we collect the money, we send it to the feds, we send them $100, they kick us back 10, and we're supposed to be happy with that. It's the same thing with the school boards. We as people in every state send all this money to the feds. They skim off their majority of it and then give us back our 10, 15%. And we got to stand there with hat in hand. Keep the money.
Right.
Stop doing this, because you're right. It's the education system. It's the inner cities. It's the social programs and the social engineering that's dragging this country down the toilet.
Absolutely.
Try to get 20,000 cats walking in one direction, though. Forget it.
Try to get one cat to come when you call it.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is what we're doing. We're herding kittens. And social media is a perfect example of that. You cannot get people all on the same page. And I'll be talking to someone and they're like, yeah. You'll make one comment and they're like, well, your math is a little off. And they go off in la la land. It's like, stay in context here, buddy. Stick with me here. It's a bigger issue. And they're off, trying to get their 20 likes.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's a lost cause. It's just, cover CYA, protect your family. That's what I like about our Utah audience is, a lot of them are LDS, and it's genetically ingrained into that religion to be a prepper. Yeah. And they know as well as anybody, if you can't take care of yourself, you're going to be in bad shape.
That's exactly right.
So, we are preaching to a choir group.
I believe so.
But I think Utah had an issue with the Board of Education years ago. I think it was back in the 80s where a guy refused to send his kids to school. They sent in marshals and shot the guy.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
So I'm sure they're pretty gun shy, but there's different ways to skin this cat. And if you're going to take it head on, if you go into the swamp to grab an alligator, you're going to die. Drag that sucker up on shore and then shoot it.
Yeah.
So we need to learn better tactics for fighting a federal Leviathan.
Well, you need to become educated. That's the simple thing is you need to become educated.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the education system that the government is spoon feeding you. I'm talking about you need to get educated. You need to get into a constitutional class that will teach you the form of government we have, the ins and outs of how a constitutional republic, because man, if you're going to save the republic, you've got to know how the republic works.
You got to know the republic. That's right. And if you're going to get educated and fight the school board or whatever, zoning, water catchment,
whatever,
you need a sheriff, because he is the guy that will have your back if you elect a good one. All of a sudden, all the other agencies fall in line, because the sheriff can literally step in and say, no, you guys go away. The EPA, go away. This is not a marshland. It's ranch land. Get out of here.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that guy in your corner, then you're as good as done.
See, the role of the sheriff is that of the peacekeeper.
Right. And his job is to protect your rights, my rights, everyone in Dalton, Georgia, or Utah's rights. Dalton, Georgia, that's where all the carpet's made. You can tell where my head's at. But in Dalton, Utah, your sheriff can protect your rights. He can protect your grazing rights, everything.
See, that's what that whole Bundy thing was all about, man.
Right. And Bundy thing worked out as good luck, because it came together in a certain way. But you turn around and move up to Oregon, just the next state over, and that sheriff turned his back on Lavoie and the Hammond family.
Yep.
And the outcome. He could have stopped it the day it started.
Yes, he could have.
But he chose
and
to
now you
hide
have an innocent man that was shot and killed.
Right.
In a public thoroughfare. Unbelievable, man.
By mercenaries. I mean, they whacked him. That's my big thing. The federal government's always playing whack-a-mole. We jump up and have a protest, and they just whack us. They
don't care. Look, see, that's the whole thing. Look. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution, yes, you have the right to peaceably protest your government when it is a tyrannical style government, not because you don't like them. But let me ask you this. So you've seen all of the protests that Antifa have been, doing. What does it gain them?
Nada. It really is, I guess, fodder, and to create confusion and to fear, like they beat that one guy up,
Yeah.
But there's no goal. It's not like what, Lavoie Finnecane and the Bundys were trying to do. They were actually protesting to say, this is private property.
Right.
You don't own it, BLM.
Well, no, I mean, their goal is to stop Trump. That's their message, is dump Trump. That's the message. And what has it gotten them? It has gotten them nothing. It has gotten them absolutely nothing. They have won nothing. They have gotten the attention of how many politicians? None.
Right. Because even they're backing off.
That's not how you do it, man. You've got to go in. You've got to learn how to control the system. You have got to learn how to wield your civic authority to control your elected officials.
Right. And in spite of all of the elected officials we have, the most important guy, whether you're in Utah or Oregon or Arizona, is your sheriff.
That's right.
He's got your six if you elect a good one. Yeah. And then all these issues go away. They come along and say, no, you can't dam up that creek to water your cattle. It's now a navigable waterway. Well, that's the EPA and the feds saying that. If your sheriff shows up and says, hey, you guys, you're all trespassing, I can arrest you now or you can leave. End of conversation. You've regained that right to own your property and to do what you want on it. Because when they tell you on private property that you cannot put a stick in the corner of your yard, they have taken your land under the taking clause, and your sheriff can stop that.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing. I saw something along the lines, I think it was, I don't know. Anyway, I saw something along the lines of, having to pay property taxes and all that, because in the end, it's never really your property.
Right. I mean,
It belongs to the government.
right. But at least in paper and in law, you still own that private property. Yeah,
Right.
you got to pay tax on it.
Right.
But they haven't worded it in a way like, you remember mailboxes used to be, in the front yard or on the house. The
Yes.
minute you allow a federal agent, which is what a postman is, on your property, you've granted them right to access your property. And
Absolutely.
that's why people stopped doing that.
Yep.
They started putting it out in the easement.
Just like if you invite somebody to stay in your house, guess what? You ask them to leave, they don't have to leave.
Right. And
In fact, I know right here in the state of Arizona, if you invite somebody, you ask someone like a family member or something that has an issue, I don't know, a marriage issue or something. So you invite them into your house, just, hey, stay here until you can get on your feet or whatever. And then they decide that they like your house and you invited them. Guess what? Good luck getting rid of them.
That's right. It's almost like the old vampire theory. Once they cross that threshold, they can come and go anytime they want.
And there's nothing you can do to stop them.
Nope.
You can't even kick them out.
Right. And if they get mail there, that's even worse because they could turn around, call the police and get a restraining order on you.
Yeah.
And you would have to leave your own house.
That's how messed up it is, folks. Right. Just like a perpetrator, someone that comes to your house, someone that breaks into your house trying to steal your property or do you harm, and you shoot that individual, and that individual dies in your home, the family can sue you for wrongful death.
Or if he falls through the skylight and lands on one of your knives and gets cut, your homeowner's insurance will pay for that, and your rates will go up. Because he was just like if someone drowns in your swimming pool.
Yeah.
You have to protect your property. And that's what Bundy and the Hammond family were trying to do. And because of the sheriffs not doing their job and not answering the call, they let that happen. And that's just another chink in the armor. I'll just say it because I know it's racist to say chink.
When we go off the air, remind me, and I'll tell you a joke about that.
Oh, you could. I'm sure our audience would love to hear it.
No, I won't go there on the show.
No. Okay, we probably shouldn't alienate everybody. Can I even say that word, alienate? Because now I've used the word alien, which could be racist.
Well, see, that's the other thing that gets me too, is they talk about the undocumented immigrants. Mm-hmm. They're not undocumented. They are illegal. But you see, they try to change the wording to say undocumented so that it doesn't sound like they're supporting someone who's a criminal, because illegal means when you partake in illegal activity, that makes you a criminal. Right. Let's call it what it is. Well, it's illegal immigrants.
And technically, since the Border Patrol can't seem to keep an eye on the border because they're 50 miles north of the border here in Arizona, they can't prove that that person broke the law. So technically, they are not illegal.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how they've done it. That's how they've played this game, and we have allowed them to win it. And if anybody wants a good book that has a horrible ending, read 1984 by George Orwell. Talk about newspeak and doublespeak and semantics and that's exactly what they're doing. They're changing our own vocabulary and using it against us.
Yeah, they're just words, people.
Yeah,
words.
Just words.
Speaking of words, we got to make way for the next program coming up after today, coming up after our show. So we are going to have to end it right here and right now. Otherwise, we're going to get
yelled at.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for me. The producer's about ready to throw his hat at me, so we need to cut this out. But thanks for tuning in, folks. We will be back next week with some more shenanigans. Do not go away.
Thank you all for listening. Love every one of you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Catch them next time as they dig into the issues. The Two Crazy Guys. Log on to the website at www.contraradionetwork.com.